Hi guys, welcome back to Tara Makes Up. Today I am doing Kate Moss makeup and I'm doing it two ways. So I'm going to do, the first look will be very pared down, very kind of natural Kate Moss, often how she's kind of photographed for editorials. And then I'm also going to do the classic Kate kind of rock and roll smudgy eyeliner. And these are really easy looks to achieve. So I hope you guys enjoy the video and let's get cracking. For foundation today, I always think Kate Moss always looks like she has very bare skin and kind of works with the principle of doing more with the concealer and less with the foundation. So I'm actually going to go with the Nars Tinted Moisturiser, and this one I really like because it still has quite buildable coverage, so it's not going to do nothing, but it's still, you know, not going to be like a full coverage base. And I'm using the shade Medium 1. And if you'll notice, Caroline has a very, very warm neck and the rest of her body compared to her face. So I'm going to warm up her face a little bit. You were saying you like your SPF 50, don't you, on your face?
Yeah.
Which is very good. So we're just going to warm up the skin a little bit first. And I'm going to use one of these Look Good, Feel Better brushes. These are really nice. They're stippling brush, finishing brush even, but I'm going to use it for foundation, just so it kind of buffs it into the skin. So don't worry if this looks warm on the face at first, it's just we've got to match the face to the body. Do a tiny bit into your neck as well, just to completely blend you, but you're definitely looking a bit more unified now. Matching, yeah. But you can see now that Caroline is all one colour, so we've got the balance of the skin tone. And I popped a little bit of the Elizabeth Arden Intensive Lip Balm Repair as well on the lips. So Kate Moss, you know, she does have a fairly thin brow, I would say. But you know, she does have still that kind of feathery appearance, so I'm just going to do the same with Caroline's got great brows. So I'm going to use first of all the Anastasia Beverly Hills the brow pomade, DipBrow, and this is in the colour Taupe, so I'm going to use a little bit of that first, and I'm going to use it with just like an angle brush, but very, very small strokes. So you've got this one, have you, Caroline? Yeah. And the best thing to do with products like this is to take a bit on the brush, then take a bit off on the back of your hand first, so it kind of doesn't go onto the brow in like a big goop.
That's a good idea.
And just look at the direction the hair's going naturally. I think if you follow the hairs, then they start to mimic the actual impression of hairs rather than looking like a just drawn on brow. So just on the outer corner, that's where you usually put a bit extra, don't you, Caroline? So I'm going to turn you a little bit more that way, that's it. So just on this outer corner, we're just going to give Caroline a bit more of an arch, and just very subtly add a couple of extra strokes just to fill in any gaps. So then I'm going to take Paintwork? No, that's not right. It's Groundwork by MAC, and it's one of their paint pots. You guys know I love this. I use it so much, and I really think it is like a kind of classic moss colour. Like, it's very much, I'm going to apply it with one brush and then blend with another. So if you close your eye for me, darling. So the great thing about something like a paint pot as well is it acts like an eye base. And I think Kate just always looks so effortless. It's sort of always very undone makeup. It's never try hard. And to a lot of people, they might think this is kind of a boring colour, but I do think it's one of those ones that I just always go back to because it's so reliable and it just really does the job of like effortless looking makeup. And I do take it up to the crease and kind of just blend it out from there. But I'm not kind of doing like a perfect shape or anything. It is more just about making the shadow of the eye, so it just looks like there's a bit of contour, a bit of shape to the eye. So then I'm just taking a short shader by Sigma, and I'm just going to go back in with Groundwork. If I turn you that way down, you look up for me, and I'm just taking that into the lower lash line and just pulling it down slightly. So it has, again, that nice lived-in kind of smudgy feel. You can always go back to a buffing brush as well and just soften it. So a palette that I've talked about a lot, guys, but haven't actually, I don't think I've used it in a tutorial yet, is the Lorac Pro Palette. And there's these amazing, one row is mattes and the bottom row is metallics or kind of shimmers. And the mattes in these are amazing, and Taupe is such a kind of classic Kate Mossy colour. So I'm going to use this one next, kind of through the crease. And then I'm just going to take a buffing brush, so using that Taupe colour. So if you look straight ahead for me, honey, with your eyes open, I'm just going to nestle that like into the crease and just extend the shadowy look now. So again, we're still kind of mimicking the natural shadow in the eyes, but in a really beautiful, soft way. And I do actually take it quite far into the eye as well. I always think with Kate Moss, you get that nice kind of rock and roll look when it's almost like a natural smoky. So I'm just taking that like in a round shape and then just swirling it in the inner corner just below the eyebrow. So a little circle underneath the eyebrow on the inner corner, and then the same on the outer corner, just kind of blend it outwards. So then I'm going to use some MAC GigaBlack mascara on the bottom lashes. So if I turn you that way down, you look up. So I'm just going to do some mascara on the bottom and top lashes and just give the lashes a good curl. And I'm just going to wiggle it kind of into the roots. So again, it's not really, this kind of look, it's not a full-on lash yet, but there's definitely some mascara in there and a little bit of lash separation. So that is actually pretty much the eyes done for kind of the natural Kate. And what you can do is you can always add some pencil into the top waterline if you want something just to give it more definition. But I'm actually going to go in now with concealer. So I'm going to use my Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. This is in mid-light neutral. And I'm going to pop that on the inside. And if you have any kind of blue undertone on the inner part of your eye, that's where you can just take your concealer a little bit higher up on the inner part of the eye, just to knock back any of that tone. So again, we're not going too far up because obviously we've done that eyeshadow. So then I'm going to use a tiny bit of powder just to kind of seal everything in place. And this is the pale yellow one by Bobbi Brown, which is really good, especially if you have any redness in your skin. It just kind of helps cancel it out a little bit. And I'm just going to take a Schuhe mirror brush and just to softly apply just to any areas that need a little bit of powder. And then with Kate Moss, obviously she is super famous for those amazing cheekbones, so we're going to do a little bit of contour. And this one has become one of my favourites actually. It's very similar to the Kevyn Aucoin one, and it actually comes with a highlighter, so I feel like it's actually a really good highlight and contour duo. And this one is the Lowlight Highlight Perfecting Palette in the pressed, and that's by Becca, so that's a really nice one. So I'm going to use a bit of that. And to make it kind of soft, I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury brush, but then kind of soften it outwards. So if you put some onto your brush, just knock a little bit of the excess off before you go to do a contour. So if I turn you that way a little bit more, my love. And I just kind of aim towards the top of the ear and just softly, and I like to almost do little circles over the top as I make the contour so it doesn't become like just one solid line. So if you go in with the contour powder and then do little circles over the top and aim towards the top of the ear, but don't come too close to the lip. So if you imagine you have a pencil here, where the middle of the eye, that's where you kind of want it to end, so you just don't have like a strip going across your face. And then for blush, I always think Kate Moss never looks like she's wearing a lot of blusher, and I really like that. So I'm actually going to use this shade. I think I've mentioned it in a video before. It's by Burberry and it's called Earthy Blush, and it's like the perfect blush for kind of a very nearly there something, but not anything that kind of takes away from the skin. So I'm going to use that one, and a drugstore alternative that I've used loads in my videos that does a really similar thing is the Cameo Pink by H&M Powder Blush. That's a really good, it's not quite the same tone, but it has the same effect of a kind of barely there blush that's really flattering. So I'm going to take a sheer powder brush by Bobbi Brown. I'm just going to give that a little bit to the cheeks. But it's so super subtle. I don't even know if it'll show up on the camera, but when I'm doing this kind of makeup on models, this is kind of the products I'll use just to give that very barely there glow. Now I want to give the tiniest bit of glow, but I actually don't want it on the cheekbones. The only place I want to do the glow is on the bridge of the nose. So I'm going to take a fan brush and using the highlighting colour that comes in this, I'm just going to take a tiniest bit of that just down the centre of the nose, just so that the look doesn't become too matte. Take the tiniest bit on the top of the lips, and that's literally all the highlight I'm going to do because I think it starts to become a very different look as soon as it's too highlightery. So for lips, I kind of want it barely there, but with a little bit balmy and not too kind of like a glossy finish. So I'm actually going to use a lip pencil, and I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude. So we've already got the lip balm on anyway, so I don't have to worry about it kind of going too heavy. But I'm just going to take a little bit of the pink out of the lips. This is quite like a kind of beigey nude pencil. And you can even use your finger and just kind of push it into the lip a little bit so that it stays nice and lived in. Me and Caroline are just laughing at the cute girly clips we've got. How cute are these hair clip guys? They're literally like little, I think they're like shampoo bottles or like little hair bottles. But we've now made Caroline look about 12. But we want you to see the makeup, so we're going to go into like the second part, which is the rock and roll Miss Moss. And for that I'm going to use, I think I'm torn between two palettes. I've got these two ones by Chanel that are both equally beautiful, and they give it like a little bit more sheen to the eye and dimension. So I have Tisse Ravioli and Tisse Vendome. Which one do you prefer, Caroline? I'll let you choose.
Oh.
Which one do you think?
Oh.
Oh.
I don't know.
Don't make me choose.
I...
Okay, cool. So we're going to go with, this one is Tisse Vendome, which is really nice. So the first shade I'm going to use as a wash is the kind of goldy pewter shade. So I'm going to use kind of like a soft bristle brush and just take that over the lid. So we've still got our nice kind of taupey base, but instantly you'll see with this kind of colour now, you just get like a bit of depth and dimension to the eye, and it gives it a little bit more texture, which is really nice. And then I'm also going to go into this darker tone as well in this palette. I'm just going to use the tiniest bit of that on the same brush and just deepen the crease a little bit. So if you look straight ahead for me, Caroline, so I'm actually just going to use this into the crease just for a little bit of extra definition. Very, very small amount. I'm kind of using it really softly, just so it kind of cheats the socket line a little bit stronger. And then I'm going to take the dark shade again, and this time I'm going to use it kind of like a liner just to smudge into the roots of the lashes. So I'm going to take a smaller brush now. Which one do I want? I'm going to take a Luxe pencil brush by Zoeva and just go into that darkest colour in the palette. So if you close your eyes for me, Caroline. So I'm just going to lift the lid a little bit and just start to darken the lash line. So it literally just goes into the roots of the lashes, and take it up sort of like just lower than halfway onto the lid. So you're just smudging it upwards. So it just goes a little bit darker. And then with that same one as well, you want to go under the eye. So if you look up for me, Caroline. So I'm also going to start to take that now a little bit under the eye, just to darken the roots. And you can take this all the way along, so all the way to the inner corner. So then I'm going to take a black coal. Now I always think of kind of a black coal when I think of Kate Moss, and that smudgy, nice lived-in look. So I'm going to take the Scandaleyes waterproof coal, and this is in the black, so I turn you that way, darling, and look up. And we're going to go all the way into the waterline, and this is, I think, without doubt, one of the best coals. It's so smudgy. So what I'm going to do is turn the pencil sideways, and I'm just pressing it into the roots, but I'm not really using the point now, I'm just doing it sideways. So a little bit messy will always look better with this kind of makeup. It doesn't look too contrived. And then we're also going to do the same along the top lash line. So I'm keeping it quite close to the lashes, but I'm almost sort of like, I don't think splodging is a word, but splodging it on top of the eye. So again, I'm almost like using the side of the pencil rather than drawing a line, just so it kind of starts to blend out a little bit. So before I come on to kind of like how I really work the eyes, I'm just going to add a bit more mascara, and this time I'm going to use this one by Givenchy, which is amazing. It's called the Noir Couture Mascara, and World Duty Free actually have these really cool like limited edition packagings. So it has kind of like the 3 balls, but I find that you get such amazing volume with these. So if you look down for me, darling. So I'm going to really push that into the roots, get some bigger blacker lashes going now, and really kind of like up the amp on the mascara. And then what I'm going to do, which you can easily do with Vaseline, and it's a trick that I know Kate does sometimes herself. I've only got 8 Hour Cream with me today, which works just as well, but any kind of like greasy lip balm or a lip gloss or something, even Vaseline will work really well. I'm just going to take a Q-tip, and I'm taking one of those ones that has like the kind of pointy end and the rounded end. And then I'm just going to put some of the 8 Hour Cream on the back of my hand. And this is how we're going to kind of smudge it up a little bit, so it looks a little bit more lived in. So first just taking the pointiest end, if you look up for me, darling, and I'm just going to put that across the coal. Turn that way a little bit for me, look up. And it's just going to make it a little bit more lived in and a bit cooler looking. And you can take the bottom rounder edge just to kind of buff, but you know, you can really like pull the black coal down now, so it starts to become really nice and smudgy. And literally, this is why you can be really, you don't have to be good at doing eyeliner or anything. It's just really simple. And close me down. And then we're also going to do the same at the base of the lash line on the top. So I'm just using the cotton bud, just flicking it upwards. So I'm not really going all over the eye, it's more just near the lash line. But it just gives such a cool lived in look. And you can even like, you almost have like pigment now on the cotton bud, so you can go back in. You can even use more kohl if you want to. I mean, you could literally keep going with this to the point where you had like a really supremely smoky eye, but you just get such versatility with this. And it's really fun to do as well, actually. It's quite nice for like a party makeup or... So the other thing you can do as well, which makes it look really grungy and really lived in, is even if you just like blink your eyes a few times, you'll get the kind of the gloss and the kohl starts to print a little bit on the lid, which looks so cool and so lived in. So I personally love that kind of look, and I think it makes it look a little bit more edgy. So I think definitely go with it. It looks really cool. And that's how to wear the looks. That's Kate Moss 2 ways. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like if you liked the video, and please subscribe, and I'll see you soon with more videos. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.
Hi.